The impassive reaction. Have you ever pondered why a loved one's silence may sometimes seem louder than a thunderstorm? It's because, at our heart, we are social creatures wired to connect, communicate, and feel understood. However, the harsh reality is that, while some people may not resonate with our frequency or comprehend our song, that's good too. We're delving deeply into the practice of letting go in a Stoic manner today. Stoicism, a time-tested philosophy, teaches us the value of acceptance and the strength that comes from realizing what is under our control and what is outside of it. Imagine having a compass that helps you navigate the social maze of life, guiding you toward calm, no matter what stormy weather others may bring into your life. Join us as we explore how to use Stoicism's wisdom to move past rejection or indifference and accept life as it is. Because in the grand scheme of things, every thread, no matter how seemingly misplaced, has a purpose in the beauty of the bigger picture. Before we get started, please do me a favor. Do you think this is something we're doing here? Examining the depths of interpersonal communication while adding a dash of Stoic wisdom, press the subscribe button. Remember that you are an exception to the rule and that understanding and reflection are valuable. Don't skip any of the video. Together, let's take this journey with open hearts and minds. It's a tiny gesture that means the world to us. Have you ever reached out, sending a message that contained a small portion of your soul, only to have it returned with a cool or K? It's like throwing a ball with all your strength, hoping to play catch, only to have it fall to the ground with a small, dull thud. Here's where the age-old wisdom of Stoicism steps in like a serene sage in the middle of our contemporary pandemonium. This is the digital age's version of minimal responses, and let me tell you, it can sting. Stoic philosophy encourages us to look inward and consider why we seek validation in the length or depth of someone's reply. Could it be that we're searching for a sense of belonging, for assurance that our thoughts matter, that we matter? Herein lies the beauty of Stoicism. It reminds us that our worth isn't tethered to the reactions of others. Stoicism teaches us the value of focusing on what's within our control and the enthusiasm or lack thereof in someone's response. Well, that's firmly in their court. Our worth. When we receive brief responses, it's a chance to practice resilience and remind ourselves that, despite our best efforts to have rich, engaging conversations, reality may not always meet our expectations. Rather than trying to control the uncontrollable, we can choose to respond with understanding, acknowledging that everyone's engagement level can vary due to numerous unseen factors and moving forward with our own inner peace intact. So, the next time you receive a minimal response, take a moment to breathe, smile, and practice the art of Stoic acceptance. Think about the freedom that arises from letting go of the need for approval from others and the ability to control your own response. It's in these moments that we can discover a deeper connection to ourselves and possibly a deeper comprehension of the straightforward yet profound joys of communication. Keep in mind that in the vast fabric of human interaction, every response, or lack thereof, teaches us something new about ourselves and the delicate art of letting go. Imagine that you're sharing a dream or a challenge with the person you're speaking to. Seems more interested in the wallpaper, their arms across their gaze keeps darting away, and you can almost see an invisible wall rising up between you. This is the dance of dismissive body language, a nonverbal cue that can leave you feeling like you're speaking to the wind. It's disheartening, isn't it, when all you're seeking is a genuine connection? Now let's bring a bit of Stoicism into the room. The Stoics, with their profound understanding of human nature, would see this scenario as a prime opportunity for growth. They'd remind us that while we cannot control the actions or reactions of others, we have complete autonomy over our own. Dismissive body language from another person doesn't reflect on our worth or the value of what we're sharing. Instead, it's a signal, a piece of information about the state of mind or the current emotional capacity of the person we're engaging with. Stoicism teaches us to observe without immediate judgment, to understand that every person is navigating their own complex inner world. Perhaps the person you're talking to is preoccupied with their own troubles. Maybe they're uncomfortable with vulnerability, or Possibly they're simply unaware of the impact of their body language. When faced with what appears to be apathy, the Stoic attitude advises us to look past the obvious and exercise empathy and patience. Furthermore, this kind of thinking encourages us to consider our own reactions. The key to Stoic resilience is choosing a response that upholds our values, keeps us calm, and allows us to have meaningful interactions without connecting our emotional well-being to the actions of others. The next time you see dismissive body language, keep in mind the Stoic wisdom. How do we react when we feel that our words are being ignored? Do we become defensive, or do we take a deep breath and calmly seek to understand? Consider it an opportunity to be compassionate to yourself and the person you are conversing with. Remind yourself that your value remains unwavering and that their body language tells their story, not yours. In the vastness of the human experience, these moments of disconnect can be transformative, guiding us back to our own inner strength and the deep well of empathy that lies within. Imagine reaching out and trying to bridge a divide with openness and honesty, only to find the chasm widening, the other side pulling away. This is the essence of encountering a significant trust gap. Embrace the freedom that comes from focusing on what you can control about your perceptions, actions, and journey towards becoming a more understanding, compassionate human being. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, whether it be friendship, love, or even a professional bond. Without it, every interaction feels shallow, and every word from a second guest leaves a hollow echo in its wake. Now let's apply the wisdom of Stoicism in the face of such a gap. It's like speaking through a glass barrier. Your words are heard, but the warmth, the connection doesn't quite make it through. The Stoics, with their profound insight into human relations, would advise us to recognize this gap not as a fault of our own making, but as a complex interplay of individual histories, perceptions, and experiences. They would remind us that trust, like a delicate seed, needs the right conditions to sprout and grow. And sometimes, despite our best efforts, the soil just isn't fertile on the other side. Stoicism teaches us the value of acceptance, of understanding that we can only control our own actions and intentions, not how they are received or reciprocated. This trust gap offers a powerful lesson in the Stoic practice of focusing on our internal locus of control. We can strive to be trustworthy, to act with integrity, and to communicate openly. However, the outcome, the closing of the gap, is not in our hands. This realization frees us from the weight of expectation and the pain of rejection. It allows us to act according to our principles without attachment to the result, embodying the Stoic ideal of equanimity. Moreover, confronting a trust gap challenges us to reflect on our own capacity for trust. Are there barriers we've erected, perhaps unconsciously, that prevent us from fully engaging with others? Stoicism pushes us to examine our inner selves, confront our preconceptions and anxieties, and develop a self-awareness that can result in both greater interpersonal bonds and personal development. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can navigate the complexities of human interactions with grace and resilience. We also learn that trust is a two-way street, requiring time, patience, and occasionally the courage to let go and move forward. In doing so, we stay true to our values, maintaining our inner peace and dignity, regardless of the external circumstances. Therefore, when faced with a significant trust gap, remember the Stoic teachings and use this challenge to grow in understanding yourself and others. Above all, cherish the relationships where trust is freely exchanged, because these are the ones that genuinely enrich our lives. This careful treading comes from sensing that someone's patience with you is quickly wearing thin. It's like being in a room where the air is charged and a single misplaced word could spark a reaction. You measure words as if they were on a scale, trying not to tip the balance into irritation or annoyance. In certain situations, it's a feeling that can make even the most straightforward talk seem like a high-wire act without a net. Stoic wisdom provides a centered viewpoint. Stoicism instills in us the virtue of patience, which we can apply not only to others, but also to ourselves when we encounter someone whose patience appears to be as flimsy as thin ice. Instead than trying to manage the outside world or the other person's temper, the concept advises us to focus inward to regulate our responses. The Stoic response to tense situations stems from empathy and understanding. Perhaps the other person is dealing with problems that are hidden from us and carrying loads that cause them to lose their cool. In addition, encountering someone whose patience is running thin can serve as a mirror for our own behaviors and attitudes. It presents an opportunity to practice patience ourselves, to strengthen our ability to remain composed and compassionate in the face of impatience. Stoicism reminds us that everyone is fighting their own battles, often hidden beneath the surface. By adopting a Stoic mindset, we can approach these situations with a sense of calm and a desire to understand rather than react defensively. In the spirit of Stoicism teaches us not only how to withstand adversity but also how to use it as an opportunity for personal growth. We come to terms with the fact that we have no influence over how quickly someone else's patience grow weary, but we do have power over how we react to them. We can decide to respond to short tempers by taking a long view of the fragility and strength of people. We may choose to confront impatience with understanding. Not only does this Stoic resilience help us get through difficult times, but it also shapes us into people who can handle the erratic ups and downs of human emotion with composure and clarity. Therefore, the next time you come across someone whose patience seems to be failing constantly, remember the Stoic lessons and take advantage of the chance to exercise patience. Compassion and comprehension. By taking stock of your own influence on your behavior and mindset, you can exemplify the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. Managing the intricacies of life with a composed and steady demeanor that has the ability to transform even the most wan patience into a chance for development and connection. This sensation of artificial manners can leave us feeling uncertain, doubting the authenticity of the interaction and, consequently, the sincerity of the relationship. It's an unsettling experience, similar to sipping a refreshing drink that tastes strangely flat in such situations. It's like watching a play where the actors are going through the motions. Their smiles are a little too practiced. Their laughter is a second too late. Stoicism provides an insightful viewpoint. This age-old wisdom exhorts us to see past appearances and recognize that people frequently adopt fake manners for a variety of reasons, none of which may be directly related to us. Instead, they may be trying to manage their own discomfort, protecting their vulnerabilities, or complying with social norms. A Stoic response to perceived sincerity in others is to practice understanding. This doesn't mean we ignore our feelings of discomfort or pretend everything is fine when it's not. Rather, it's about realizing that we have the power to choose our own responses to such artificiality. Stoicism teaches us to respond to such artificiality not with suspicion or disdain, but with empathy and patience. Responses. Furthermore, Stoicism serves as a reminder of the importance of concentrating on the things that we can control. While we cannot force others to be genuine with us, we can control our own authenticity, reactions, and manner of engaging with the outside world. By reflecting the qualities of honesty and sincerity, we become a mirror, reflecting back the kind of genuine interaction we seek. This does not guarantee that others will lower their guard, but it does ensure that we stay true to our values, fostering connections that are rooted in authenticity. Stoicism also challenges us to think about our expectations. Are we setting ourselves up for disappointment by expecting unguarded authenticity from everyone we meet? Perhaps it would be wiser to modify our expectations and recognize that every interaction has a specific place and time, and that sincere connections develop at their own pace when confronted with artificial manners. Recall the Stoic qualities of bravery and wisdom, the ability to see past appearances, and the bravery to convey ourselves honestly. Use this challenge as a chance to develop empathy, provide compassion to others without anticipating a response, and develop an inner sense of calm that is resistant to disruption from the ups and downs of the outside world. When you reach out to someone, have you ever discovered that they are constantly preoccupied with something else that puts them perpetually out of reach? It's as if you reach out and believe the gap is small, only to see it expand with each attempt at communication. When someone continuously looks for excuses to avoid you, it might evoke a range of feelings. In these moments of bewilderment, annoyance, or even rejection, it seems like every attempt to bridge the gap simply makes it more apparent. Stoicism provides a ray of light. When someone appears to be weaving a web of justifications to keep us at bay, Stoicism encourages us to look inward, focusing on our own reactions rather than on trying to decode or change theirs. A Stoic perspective on this distance is not one of resignation, but rather of understanding and acceptance. This ancient philosophy teaches us that our happiness and peace of mind come not from the actions or inactions of others, but from how we choose to perceive and respond to them. Numerous factors impact people's emotional and physical availability. Past obligations, personal, difficulties, or possibly their growth path. Stoicism serves as a reminder that while we are the masters of our own ship, others are also in charge of theirs. While we are powerless to control their will, we are able to control our own sails and guide our emotional health in a morally sound and wise manner. In addition, Stoicism challenges us to consider the nature of our expectations when it comes to wanting or expecting someone's time and presence. Is our happiness dependent on factors outside of our control? This philosophy teaches us the power of detachment, not from people or the richness of human relationships, but from the expectation that others must behave in a way that pleases us in order for us to be happy. Meeting someone who finds reasons to avoid contact with us presents an opportunity to put the Stoic virtues of independence and self-reliance into practice. It's a chance to strengthen our inner citadel and create a foundation of contentment that is resistant to outside events. This does not imply that we stop reaching out or that we close our hearts. Rather, it means that we do it from a place of wholeness, understanding that the absence of others does not lessen our value. To see distance is to keep acting in an open and loving manner. Let us remember the Stoic teachings of acceptance, understanding, and the cultivation of inner peace when faced with the challenge of someone who seems to find reasons to stay away. Let this be an opportunity to grow in self-awareness and resilience, cherishing the connections that enrich our lives while gracefully accepting the natural ebb and flow of human relationships. In doing so, we embody the essence of Stoicism, finding strength and serenity within, regardless of the spaces that may lie between us and others. We bridge the gap without attachment to the outcome. However, we also recognize and respect the autonomy of others to choose their path, just as we choose ours. The type of listening in which the other person nods appropriately but their thoughts are far away is known as non-genuine interest listening. We can feel underappreciated when someone listens to us without showing genuine interest, as if our words are just background noise to their life's soundtrack. Perhaps they're mentally going through a shopping list or practicing a conversation in which they're genuinely interested. Stoicism, with its focus on the things within our control, encourages us not to tether our sense of worth to the attentiveness or lack thereof of our listeners. Rather, we are invited to appreciate the act of sharing as an expression of our authenticity and offering of ourselves to the world, without attachment to how it is received. Stoicism is a gentle yet profound reminder of the importance of anchoring our self-esteem, not in the reactions of others, but in our own self-respect and the knowledge that we have spoken our truth. Practicing empathy and understanding is a Stoic response to someone showing you no true attention. It's possible that the person we're speaking to is preoccupied with their own concerns, difficulties, or even inner monologue. Adopting a Stoic mindset allows us to respond to perceived disinterest not with bitterness or resentment, but with a calm acceptance that this, too, is a part of the human experience. Stoicism teaches us that everyone is navigating their own journey, often doing the best they can with the tools they have at that moment. Additionally, Stoicism challenges us to consider whether we are setting ourselves up for disappointment by expecting genuine interest and undivided attention from every interaction. Instead, Stoicism suggests that we concentrate on our own deeds and intentions, making sure that we listen with the interest and attentiveness we hope to receive. This is about developing inner peace by concentrating on the aspects of our behavior that we can control, not about reducing our standards for human connection. Our dispositions and reactions. Being met with a lack of sincere attention, can also serve as a reminder of the need of being selective about what we share about our opinions and experiences. Stoicism suggests that we carefully select the confidants with whom we communicate our innermost thoughts and feelings, not that we isolate ourselves from other people. It's a call to engage our time and efforts in relationships where the cornerstones are sincere interest and respect for one another. Realizing that these relationships are what really make a difference in our life, even when it seems like no one is listening to us. Let us recall the Stoic virtues of wisdom, courage, and moderation. Wisdom to acknowledge what is under our control, courage to express who we are in spite of other people's reactions, and moderation in our expectations of other people's willingness to interact and listen. This lack of desire to truly understand can feel like speaking into a void where your words echo back devoid of connection or comprehension. It's a stark reminder of the moments when we find ourselves seeking a bridge to mutual understanding, only to realize we're standing alone in the face of such indifference. Imagine opening up and sharing a slice of your soul or a piece of your mind, only to be met with indifference. It's as if you're offering a gift of your innermost thoughts, and in return, you receive a nod. Stoicism is an ancient philosophy that teaches us the virtue of being self-sufficient, not in the sense of isolating oneself, but rather in finding contentment and serenity inside ourselves, regardless of other people's opinions or comprehension. It provides a beacon of resilience and inner strength. A Stoic perspective on encountering indifference is rooted in compassion and empathy, both for ourselves and for the person who seems indifferent. Perhaps they are overwhelmed by their own struggles, or lack the emotional bandwidth to engage on a deeper level. Stoicism teaches us to approach such situations with understanding, realizing that everyone is on their own path, and that their current state of indifference is not a reflection of our worth or the value of our thoughts. Furthermore, Stoicism encourages us to reflect on the nature of our expectations when we share our thoughts and feelings with others. Are we doing in hopes of receiving a specific response? Stoicism counsels us to let go of these expectations in order to express our true selves without worrying about the result. Encountering indifference can also serve as a catalyst for personal growth, offering an opportunity to practice the Stoic virtues of courage and wisdom. Courage to remain true to ourselves and continue sharing our truth. Wisdom to recognize which relationships are capable of providing the depth and understanding we seek. This teaches us to invest our energies in connections that nurture mutual understanding, and to cultivate an inner circle where difference is replaced with empathy, curiosity, and respect in moments when we feel misunderstood or met with indifference. Therefore, this doesn't mean that we lower our standards for meaningful interactions. Rather, it means that we find contentment in our own expression, independent of external validation. In order to navigate life's interactions with grace, we must embody the Stoic principles of self-reliance and emotional independence. By doing so, we can find strength in our own clarity of purpose, comfort in our self-awareness, and resilience in our ability to face indifference without losing our sense of self. We do this by understanding that our worth is inherent and that our quest for understanding begins within. They make sure you're left out. It feels like you're standing in this intentional exclusion, staring out of a window at a party you weren't invited to, where the warmth and joy seem worlds away from where you are. The meticulous creation of arrangements to guarantee your exclusion might break your spirit, making you question your role in the circle or whether you ever truly had one in the first place. In these situations, Stoicism's profound wisdom can provide comfort and perspective. Stoicism teaches us the value of focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and responses, and letting go of what isn't, including other people's decisions about social gatherings. This ancient philosophy reminds us that our value and our joy are not contingent upon an invitation or the acceptance of others. Stoicism encourages us to use this experience as a chance for introspection and growth. Perhaps this exclusion is a signal to reevaluate the relationships we value and the company we wish to keep. Are we investing our time and energy into relationships that are reciprocal, that feed our soul and our growth? Or have we been holding on to connections that are, in truth, indifferent to our presence? A Stoic approach to being left out does not mean shrugging off the hurt or pretending it doesn't matter. Rather, It invites us to examine the pain to understand its origins, and then to gently guide ourselves back to a place of peace and self-sufficiency. Stoicism also instills in us the virtue of independence, the ability to find contentment in ourselves and in our own company, and a reminder that, although human connection is important and enriching, our happiness need not depend on it. Instead, we have the power to design meaningful lives full of activities that fulfill us, no matter who decides to include us in their plans for exclusion. As we travel, let us decide to extend the inclusion and understanding to others that we wish had been afforded to us, building a circle where kindness and genuine connection are the pillars. Let us rely on Stoic wisdom to reflect, understand, and then rise above. Let us recognize that every experience of being left out can lead us closer to self-reliance, to finding peace and happiness in our own path. Your instinct tells you problems. Have you ever felt that nagging sense that something isn't quite right? It's like an internal alarm system that sounds quietly but persistently, warning of trouble long before storm clouds appear in the sky. This gut instinct. Nevertheless, acknowledging and responding to this inner voice frequently calls for a delicate balance of courage and wisdom, especially when everything else seems normal on the surface. Stoicism, with its rich tapestry of wisdom on living a virtuous life, provides a sturdy anchor in navigating these turbulent inner waters. A visceral response to the unseen and unspoken can be both a guardian and a guide, alerting us to tread carefully or reconsider our path. This age-old wisdom emphasizes the importance of listening to our inner selves and encourages us to trust in reason and intuition. However, it also warns against being influenced by fleeting impressions or unfounded fears, arguing instead that we should carefully consider our instincts before acting on them when they seem off. Stoicism promotes thoughtful pausing for a moment to consider the origin of this intuition. Is it supported by empirical evidence? Or is it the reverberation of ingrained anxieties and fears? Stoicism instructs us to question our instincts with the same rigor we would any outside guidance rather than discounting them. Through self-examination, we may discern between authentic intuition and misguided fear, directing us towards decisions that are consistent with our beliefs and ideals. Furthermore, Stoicism provides guidance on how to react after we've accepted our instincts. It serves as a reminder that, despite our inability to influence outside circumstances, we do have total control over the things we do and how we react. When our gut tells us something isn't quite right or could be harmful, we have the authority and duty to take the appropriate action to protect our integrity and well-being. By paying attention to and following our instincts, this process of connecting with our gut sentiments also promotes the growth of self-trust. We reaffirm our belief that we can handle challenging circumstances. Stoicism strengthens this trust by acknowledging our ability to reason, learn from every experience, and progress, rather than by promoting a naive faith in our infallibility. Accepting our intuition as a source of knowledge then turns into a Stoic virtue exercise, since it calls for the bravery to confront difficult realities. It tests our ability to remain composed and resilient by requiring us to react with moderation rather than impulsivity, and the wisdom to determine the best course of action. Even in situations where our instincts lead us into unfamiliar territory, let the lessons of Stoicism guide you. Take this moment to establish a close connection with your inner wisdom and examine your instincts with clarity and reason, and to move forward with actions that reflect your highest self. Trusting in your intuition, tempered by the principles of Stoicism, you can navigate life's uncertainties with confidence, knowing that your inner compass is aligned with the virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance in the urban flow of life. It's the wisdom we carry within that lights our way through the darkest nights and guides us back to calm waters. Remember, the journey isn't about avoiding the storm, but learning to sail in any weather. Thank you for joining us on this voyage at the Stoic Journal, where each step we take is a step toward mastering the art of living. If this journey speaks to you, consider exploring more paths to wisdom by watching one of the suggested videos on your screen together. Let's continue to build a life not just endured, but truly lived. Until next time, carry forward the torch of Stoic wisdom, illuminating the path not only for yourself, but for those yet to find their way